Rome's known as the City of Seven Hills, and you'll find tons of maps that make this seem pretty simple. But don't be fooled, it's not exactly true. Sit back for a couple minutes and let me explain to you the 11 hills that make up the 7 hills of Rome. In ye olden times, the land around Rome was formed by 2 volcanoes that are currently Lake Albano and Lake Bracciano. Side note, they also provided the Pozzolana sand deposits down by Naples that make Roman cement so great. But back in Rome, the deposited material was eroded by water that ran down the river into the Tiber, and that created the hills. Many of them are not obviously hills today because they're covered with buildings. Heck, even Trajan removed 125 feet off the side of the Quirinal hill to build his forum. Here's his column, which shows the height of the hill before it was being leveled. But anyway, they would have been much more obvious 2,000 years ago. Hills make settlements a lot easier to defend, so this is where the Romans set up their first communities. One of the early Roman festivals celebrated the communities at the peak and was called the Septimanium, which roughly translates to the 7 hills or 7 peaks, something similar to that. But they were not the 7 hills that we talk about today. They were the Caelian hill, which that's good, the Palatine hill, another good one, the Velia, which is actually a spur off of the Palatine hill. There was the Germalius, which is actually part of the Palatine hill. 3 spurs off the Esquiline, including the Fagutal, the Oppian, and the Cispian. And then the Subura, which I think is part of the Quirinal hill and the Viminal hill. If you're counting, that's 8 hills, and it doesn't include the Capitoline hill or the Aventine hill. Then later sources really start to mess things up. It appears that the Janiculum was added because they wanted something on the other side of the Tiber, but that of course necessitated taking off one of the other 7 hills, so they seem to have removed the Palatine. And then in the 4th century, they wanted to add the Vatican, which was named after a hill, so they added back the Palatine, but then they removed the Quirinal and the Viminal hills. So, what's the story? If you walk around Rome, it's painfully clear it's built on a number of hills. And in ancient times, there were probably 8 communities on several of the hills. When the Servian wall was built in the 4th century BC, it included the 7 hills you see on the tourist brochures. But as the city got more established and grew, there were 4 more hills that we can add. Some of those were within the Aurelian wall. Heck, if you look at the historically important hills in the current city, you almost have to add the Sacred Mound. But since that's where the plebeians went when they threatened to never come back to Rome again, I guess we should probably leave that out of the historical count. So that leaves us with the 11 hills of Rome. If you don't like the way I've assigned the hills, go ahead and put a comment down in the chat, and I can guarantee you in 100 years, urban growth, erosion, and academic debate is going to set up a whole different set of arguments. Anyway, if you liked this video, or even if you didn't like this video, please like, subscribe, share, and I'll make some more.